Welcome back, 6th grade. So as we get started building our Frank Stella cardboard sculptures, I want you to have the knowledge about many different cardboard building techniques. Basically, lots of different ways in order to actually build your sculpture. So this is a little visual that I always post in the room when we're doing this project. And for those of you learning online, I will post a picture of it. But I'm going to show you how to do each of these today. So we have the slot. That's how to do it, and the visual when it's done. Creating feet, peeling, this great one called a flange. Layering, I don't really need to show you how to do because you're just layering pieces on top in order to create depth. Also build walls, I probably don't have to show you how to do either. It's just how to create, how to build some dimension that way. And then lastly, score and bend. So I'm going to move this off to the side so that way we can do each of these different examples. So let's work on the slot first. So I'm going to draw it so that you can see the visual as well. The slot is where we make a cut partway through two different pieces so that way they can go together. So let's take a look at that really quick. All right, so if you fit these two pieces together, it actually is quite sturdy, very secure, and this is a great thing to add onto your sculpture on the bottom if you want it.
It's time to clean up.
Sorry for the interruption, guys. If you want it to stand up. So slot is a really important technique to know about. If it's flipping and turning a little bit, a tiny bit of hot glue will secure that into place. All right, so guys, another one that we want to take a look at is creating feet. So that is going to be very similar to how you would do a slot. You're going to make a cut partway through just one piece. All right, but for this one, in order to encourage it to stand up nice and tall, you would move one piece off to one side off to the other. Those could be glued together, and if you can see, that stands upright really, really well. So creating feet is another really helpful technique. All right, if you're looking for a way to create some texture, you can do that with the peel. So when we're using corrugated cardboard like this, we know that there are two layers of cardboard and it has the corrugated part in between it. So if you're looking to create some texture, you can peel a layer. And I'm not saying it's always easy to do with every cardboard, but you can peel a layer off of cardboard. If it's not peeling super well, you can help create a little bit more of that texture with your scissors. Just do that carefully. But depending on what you're creating for your sculpture, that texture can be really helpful. All right. The next one is called a flange, and this is a really great way to create some height in your sculpture. So paper towel and toilet paper tubes are actually really excellent building materials for this project. So for those of you in class, I do have many that you can use. For those of you at home, this is something that we all have. So a flange is going to help create height, like I said. So what you want to do for flange is create some cuts on one side of the tube. You do not have to go all the way up. Okay, and then you peel these outwards. All right, so this can be glued and attached down to a surface to really easily and securely build some height up. So if you're looking to include this shape, this tube shape in your sculpture, this is a really great way to make sure that it's secure. All right, the last one we want to talk about is score and bend. And that's really helpful if you want to create something that maybe is a little bit more circular and you want it to be three-dimensional. So you can do this with scissors as long as you're careful and you think you can do it safely. I am going to use a tool that we have in class called a canary knife. If you don't have this at home, I don't expect you to. Again, you can safely do this with scissors. All right, so guys, I am going to make cuts into this in order to bend it all the way around. I want to make sure that I am cutting this evenly, so I am going to make some marks with my Sharpie, so that way I know where to make those cuts. When you're scoring, you're cutting not all the way through, just about halfway through the cardboard. It's going to be really helpful if you cut with the corrugation. If you're cutting against it, it is harder to cut it straight. All right, so now that we have it scored, it's super easy to bend it into shape. So I only cut, so I have 4 sides, so it is more of a square shape, but you can easily imagine, hopefully. In fact, let's actually do it. If you were to cut this multiple times, you can really easily get a round shape. You might have to kind of crack and separate them a little bit more. All right, but that makes a really good tube shape. It actually has a really cool texture on the outside too. So that is how you can secure everything together. All right, so guys, the last thing I want to talk to you about is how to do this safely, because that's incredibly important. So it is hard to cut through thick cardboard with scissors. I totally understand that. For trimming, excuse the bell, for trimming small pieces, you can use scissors. But again, for those of us who are in class, we're gonna have access to something called a canary knife. And a canary knife is like a little saw that you can use in order to specifically cut cardboard. So in order to cut this safely, you actually wanna stand the cardboard up. Set it on here. And again, the camera's gonna shake, I apologize guys. And you saw back and forth. Obviously be careful of where your fingers are when you're doing this, but it's easy to get straight lines. It's also really easy to carve shapes in. So that required very little effort too. So feel free to take advantage of using the canary knife, but again, make sure you are keeping an eye on where your hands are. That's super important. All right, so I hope that this demonstration helped give you a better idea of how to build your cardboard sculpture.